What's happening, guys? Welcome back. We are going to get the Speed 6 back up and ready to go to try to fire. We just got our intake manifold and injectors pulled out. Last video, if you haven't seen it, you can check it out, where we found out some disgusting news when we found our injectors were completely shot and the seals have failed. And today we actually just received in the mail our new injector seals for our spare injectors that we have that are already cleaned and flow tested. So I'm gonna switch this over here so you guys can check them out. Okay, hot out the mail truck. Overspeed Motorsports injector seals. I'll open those up in a second. And I got my fresh injectors ready to go. What I'm gonna do is open these up, put the seals on the injector, and then I'm gonna actually put them into my fuel rail here and get ready to start putting the rest of the engine bay back together. I can get everything pretty much hooked up minus the high pressure fuel pump until that gets here. So everything else will be buttoned up and ready to go. So strap in, guys. We got a good episode coming to you right now, and hopefully you guys will see a startup in this video. So stay tuned. So these are the Overspeed Motorsports injector seals, and they are a really nice design. These are new, and see how they have like the lip there to crush down versus the older style CPE seals. So these just go on here like so and slide down onto here like that, and you just put them in like that, and they crush down when you torque them and creates a nice tight seal. So we're gonna get the rest of these done, and then we'll jump over to getting the car back together. Here we go, nice little shot of all the seals hooked up onto the injector. Got the rail ready. So guys, when you're putting injectors in, just to save yourself the hassle and potential of ripping new O-rings, just take a little bit of oil on your finger and rub it around the O-ring itself. It's gonna be a little bit of a tight fit going in the rail, but they will go in. The best thing to do is just wiggle them back and forth until they go. And if you need to add a little bit more oil onto the O-ring, that's fine too. Just make sure you get them in there and they seat all the way. But Dom just showed up. He's got the Speed 3 here. You guys got a sweet video coming on that thing.
It's ripping.
Yeah, you definitely want to stay tuned. It's got a whole new setup on the car, turbo-wise, and he's having a lot of fun with it. So he got rid of the 64-66 and went with a smaller turbo. So you guys definitely stay tuned if you want some Speed 3 action. It's coming your way. We got a couple videos planned for this week, so definitely make sure your notifications are on and you guys are paying attention, because we got some stuff coming at you. All right, boys, fuel rail is on. Everything's ugga-dugga tight, and we should be good to roll, man. I just checked everything out, looking good. I'm gonna start getting I'm gonna get the intake manifold out and get the underside plugged up here, this sensor plugged in, and start putting that together. Get the fuel rail back plugged in into the PI system, get the intercooler piping back on, power steering pump back on, and start cleaning some stuff up. And then all we're waiting on is that high pressure fuel pump, and we'll get everything else hooked up and hopefully be ready to rock, man. I'm really hoping this is it. There's not much else it could be. So it's either that or we're tearing it down and we're gonna swap this car with something else. But we're gonna get the intake manifold back on, and we'll catch you guys back in a sec. All right, guys, got the intake manifold back on, minus the pain in the butt bolt down there. Just got to get that one buttoned up, and get the power steering pump back on. Just got to pull the tensioner back to line up the holes, and then yeah, fuel rail and lines back on. Can't button up my vacuum block until my high pressure fuel pump's here, and then I can clean up all this wiring and stuff that I've pulled up and out of the tucked area. Looks like a jumbled mess right now, but it'll look good once it's done. But yeah, this is back on, so I'll get the power steering pump on, and then I'll start doing the intercooler piping down here and up, and getting everything connected to the throttle body, and be good to go. Just waiting on that high pressure fuel pump. That's it. A quick spooling up tip: always keep spare clamps around, because I just murdered one. This one had a lot of like surface rust on it. The bolt was weak. Snapped her. Also, don't use an impact to tighten them down. Maybe down until they're a little bit snug, and then use a wrench, because I just snapped that mofo right off. So I just gotta tighten these up right here, and then we'll be good to go with the intercooler piping. All good to go up here. Also, I found some really sweet clamps for you guys. If you guys want, I'll drop them down in the description below. My guys in Australia actually turned me on to them, and they look sick. And you can get colored ones, and they're less bulky and like weird looking. I'm gonna drop them down in the comments. You guys can check them out. They're pretty rad. So yeah, just got to get this side hooked up with the throttle body and down here, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, intercooler piping is done. All the throttle body stuff is hooked back up. We're literally just waiting on the high pressure fuel pump. So I will call it here for a night, and wait for the pump to get here. So I'll catch you guys back when the pump arrives. Oh yeah, got her back on the ground. A little low on the tires, but it's out of the garage. I needed to get it out of there to clean and organize the garage, which took all day because I had stuff everywhere. But we were cleaned up and all parts and stuff organized. And yeah, so I haven't gotten the fuel pump yet, but the fuel pump that came out of the 6, I do have an extra Ray's Mazda parts E85 capable rebuild kit, which I think we're gonna just tackle because I don't feel like waiting. So we're gonna disassemble the pump. I'm gonna clean my area up real quick, disassemble the pump, and I think we're gonna show you guys a little rebuild action. So get the car back in the garage here soon, and then we'll wait to finish up. Okay guys, got my workspace set up here. Got my actual high pressure fuel pump housing right there, and then my pump over here. I actually started disassembling it and then realized I forgot to turn the camera on. So it's just 2 of these Torx bits, and you really want to get these Torx security bits with the hole in the middle, because that's what you need to take them apart on the stock one. So that one right there just takes a little bit like that. I think it's a T25 or something like that bit. And you just rip these off. Got a little O-ring right there. So the first part that we took off is going to go right here. And then next thing I did is, I don't have a vise in the garage, which I really need. I don't understand how I haven't gotten a vise yet. But I just use a C-clamp on the metal table here, and you just use an adjustable wrench to break this free. It is a 32 millimeter if you have that wrench, because you can't fit a socket over it because of the actual plug. So I already broke mine free. Just be careful that you don't break the actual clip. And we're gonna undo this here and see what comes out, or it doesn't. Just some leftover fuel, but she's pretty dirty. So we're gonna just set this right here for a second. I can't tell yet if anything is failed on that, but we got it out, and now we're gonna start disassembling the rest of the pump. All right, so spill valve is out with the parts. Careful, there's a little spring and a button that goes in this thing here, which sets in there. It's looking pretty gross in there. Not too bad, a lot of carbon buildup for sure, or whatever that is. But we're gonna keep going. So next thing I'm gonna do is disassemble this guy here. There's a little bit of fuel dripping out. All right, guys, the internals right here, to get them out, it's actually an 18mm socket. So you're gonna get in there with an 18mm and just pop it off. I had already kind of broke it loose, but just showing you guys. And you'll pull that out and reveal your high pressure fuel pump internals and everything inside. And this just actually has an O-ring on there. I'm not going to disassemble all the internals, I don't think. I might, but we're just going to soak this whole unit here and clean it up. But that goes like that. And then you have everything open on both sides. Next thing I'm going to do is pop this cap off right here using the same Torx bit. Just blast those off real quick. You want to make sure you use caution because they are small bolts. So I just do enough trigger on there to crack them loose, and then back them out slowly. I hope you guys appreciate this because there is nothing on YouTube. I looked. There's nothing on YouTube for a high pressure fuel pump rebuild. There's just a video for installing internals. So pretty similar, but we're just gonna leave these. We're not gonna fully break them down yet because it's looking pretty disgusting in here for sure. Definitely needed to be cleaned. Got a whole lot of stuff going on. So next thing you're gonna do is crack this open, and I forgot what size it is. I'm gonna double check real quick and get back to you guys. All right, guys, I have my ghetto vise set up, and it is a 17 mil. All right. Okay, guys, everything is broken down. Now at this point, you're gonna clean everything. What we use is brake clean, and just get all the little pieces as clean as you can. Use some rags, use some, you know, shop cloths, and maybe even some soft bristle like toothbrushes to kind of just get anything off. If you've got some harder stuff to get on there, you're gonna want to do that. Pull off all the O-rings that are on here, here. There's also another small O-ring inside this right here. You're not gonna be able to see it, but it's in the inside lip of this, and that's where this small one goes. And then this ring goes on the outside of this. Just clean these up a little bit. Make sure you lube the high pressure fuel pump internals really well. Marvel mystery oil is what you want to do. Soak a lot of the parts in that if you can. The spill valve, just make sure you don't lose any of the things. Everything's labeled out like you see it here. That's what I would suggest you do, and just clean one section at a time just so you can keep track of everything. Clean it out real well, and we soak the housing. This is recommended to me by Rodney. You could take this out too. That's that 18 or 17, I think, showed you. You can soak this whole housing for the pump. You see that there's some, you know, some gunk in there and stuff like that. You can get that out with brake clean and whatever, but you can soak that whole housing in that Marvel oil and then wipe everything down really well. This one here, the feed line, where the feed line goes in, there's actually a little filter inside. If you want to brake clean that really well and just clean everything up to the best of your ability. You know, it may take you, you know, a couple hours to get everything done, but you really want to make sure it's clean, because you put it back together, you expect it to be running well for a while. And then once everything is coated, soaked in oil, you're going to clean everything up really well, and you're going to start reassembling the exact same way you disassembled. So all your pieces go back in order together, and you start bolting them to the actual housing. And just don't forget the orientation of these when you take them out, and you'll be good to go. It comes with some fresh new hardware that looks really great, and makes it easier to get the bolts back on. You're not fighting with, you know, if you potentially have, you know, your old bolts that are, you might be crusty and old. I fortunately didn't have that issue, but yeah, just thoroughly clean everything with brake clean. I'm going to get going on this. I'm not going to bore you guys with cleaning it or putting the pump back together, because it's honestly just in exact reverse of what you did. Don't be scared of it. Don't be intimidated by it. Just take your time, clean what you think you can. Nothing's going to get hurt by you cleaning it and or soaking it in oil. Just, I wouldn't soak this thing in the oil. I would just clean it really well with the brake clean, just because it has the sensor and everything on there. But everything else is free game. Clean it, oil it, and what you see here is what you need to break it down to in order to make the rebuild happen. So I hope you guys enjoyed that how-to video on installing injectors, just kind of messing around, tinkering around with the car, and doing this high-pressure fuel pump rebuild. A lot of people have been asking me to do this, and you know, it really isn't that hard once you get it down to it. It's just nuts and bolts, taking the thing apart and just organizing it so you can keep track of everything. And that's the biggest thing that people mess up with these, is they don't keep track of what things are. They're small pieces, they lose them. Yeah, so just keep good organization and work at it slowly, clean it real nice, and put it back together so you know it's going to last. I appreciate you guys. We've got a big episodes coming to you next, so definitely stay tuned. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and smash that notification bell to get new notifications when we post new videos. But until next time, guys, we will see you later. Peace.